Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the lucky number 13th edition of Cinema Effect. I'm Zach, and I'm joined by PTA's number one fanboy, Liam.
Hello.
And my fellow Hans Zimmer appreciator, Jaden.
G'day.
God, I just feel so obligated to do that now. I don't even really like doing it, to be honest. You know,
The nickname.
I don't think. Yeah, the nickname and just I feel like I'm just reading. I don't know. There's no passion behind the intro. You know, the intro should bring some energy, I think, to the show, and I'm really failing to do that, I think.
Well, when I offered you and other nicknames, you shut them down. So, man, look where we are.
It's true. I did shut them down. I mean, I think I was justified in shutting them down, but
yeah, I don't know.
But you're not wrong though. Like, I feel like to bring the energy I want, I need to make those kind of sacrifices and perhaps get a little bit more vulgar in the intro.
Yeah, I'd go for it.
All right. Well, get hyped for vulgar intros in the future, I guess. Oh god. Anyway, this is Cinema Effect, the podcast where we review and talk about a different movie every single week. The show posts every Monday. You can find us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. So subscribe, rate us, all that fun stuff. You can always submit any questions to the show via the YouTube comments section. We read them at the end of the show. And, I mean, because the end of the show always basically goes off the rails anyway, we'll just talk about anything. I'm happy to debate foods. I mean, yeah. Actually, maybe not. I don't want to debate foods. Whatever. Submit your questions. We'd appreciate it. But, of course, we've got our specific question prompt of the week that we also answer at the end of the show. And this week we're asking you what the scariest film you've seen is. And not just the best scary film, but ones that actually make you shit your pants or creeped you out or something like that. Maybe it's something from your childhood. I don't know. That's probably going to be my case. But yeah, they can be good, they can be bad. But what made you shit your pants? Let us know in the comments. We'd definitely appreciate that. And we'll read them at the end of next week's show. This week we're doing our first comedy. We're doing Superbad. How exciting is that? I mean, hey, maybe Matrix Reloaded counts as a comedy in some people's eyes. Maybe. I don't know. All right. Cheers. All right, so data dump. Let's do it for Superbad. The film opened in the US on the 17th of August 2007. It was directed by Greg Mottola, whatever. And it, what'd you say?
Motola.
I love how I always just like mispronounce these words and then you guys just come in and just say it super easy. Wow. Okay. And it was written by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg. I can say them fine. It stars Jonah Hill, Michael. Now, is this Michael Cera?
Sarah.
Sarah. Cool. Christopher Mintz, whatever. Bill Hader, Seth Rogen, and Emma Stone. The film had a budget of $20 million, had a worldwide box office of $171 million. It is a comedy, as I mentioned. It goes for 1 hour and 53 minutes, and the synopsis is two codependent high school seniors are forced to deal with separation anxiety after their plan to stage a booze-soaked party goes awry. Guys, you've both seen Superbad before. Tell me about how you feel about this movie, because this one, I just wrote so many notes for this movie. I wrote 5 pages of notes. I know, I definitely didn't. I wrote balls all notes. But yeah, so I don't know. What drew you to this movie, I guess, Fitzy? I don't know, to do this.
I mean, I didn't think I was good as I thought it. Like, I thought it wasn't as good as I thought it was the first time. Like, so I can't really. I don't know. Right.
Is that just by nature of the kind of movie it is, or I guess that's a bit unfair, but more just, I don't know. I feel like once you've seen this film, I can never see myself watching this movie again and enjoying it as much, just because I feel like you've seen it once and you kind of just get what it's going for, you know? I don't know if it makes any sense. Anyway, how do you feel about it, Jane?
Yeah, no, it's a film I love. Like, I actually did enjoy it more this time. And I think that's because of the context that I have now built with it. Because, like, first time watching it, you're just watching it, but now it's become a film that, I've quoted many times with my mates, and, like, McLovin has been, a really big joke amongst, me and my friends. So like having that context when watching it again, I think it made me appreciate it more.
Yeah, cool.
Sorry, can you hear the dog or not?
Is that on your end? Yeah.
Yeah. Ah, fuck, sorry.
No, it's all right. I don't know. I'm kind of weird. I feel like I'm weird talking about this movie. I don't know, where it's kind of just by nature of what it is, not my cup of tea, really. But I totally respect the movie. I like aspects of the movie, and I mean, I think in terms of at least what I would very much assume, Rogan and Goldberg were going for with their script. Like, I think they nailed what they were going for. I just don't know what they were going for really appeals to me that much. But I mean, I think they achieved, as far as I can tell anyway, achieved their vision and of what this movie is, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I thought it was okay. I kind of found it to drag a lot in the second half this time, and like I liked some parts of the comedy, but others I really don't like. Like, I mainly just really love Michael Cera's character. He's kind of an awkward character in this, but
yeah,
I don't know.
Pretty much like the personification of you, like, you know, a little bit exaggerated.
Sarah.
Yeah.
Well, should I take that as an insult or I don't know. But yeah, I think it's.
You said you liked him, so I guess not.
I think it's I like his scenes, like they're awkward and kind of funny, but yeah, it's kind of mixed for me, I guess. I think it's okay.
Okay. I'm kind of with you on the dragging in the second half. Where I mean, I think so much of this conversation is just going to be ridiculously subjective because, I mean, everything's subjective, but at the end of the day, I feel like comedy is one of those things. Humor is one of those things that is just so, not to get too philosophical or anything, but like it is subjective to a kind of unparalleled degree, I guess.
I think
so in that way,
in that respect.
What was that? Sorry.
I think like comedy and horror are kind of like the two most objective like things you've got with film.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good call. Yeah. So with that in mind, this is kind of going to be an interesting conversation, I think. But I think I like the first half way more than the second half, and I think it's kind of a thing for me where the second half comes around, and I just kind of I feel like I've seen all this movie has to offer already. Where I'm like, okay, I get the humor.
Yeah.
You know, there's been a few good jokes, and I appreciate those, but the second half isn't really offering me anything that I hadn't already experienced in the first half. So I'm just like, okay, like I feel like really, you know, after 45 minutes, the charm kind of wears off a bit.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt. They didn't reuse jokes, but they, you know, it was the same.
They're in the same vein.
Yeah, the same vein. Yeah.
The same dick vein.
Aha.
Oh,
sorry, that was horrific. That was really bad.
He's become a fan, Superbad fan.
Apparently. Oh god.
So is that the discussion over, or?
Yeah. So guys, Superbad out of 10. No, but I was actually super interested in going into this because I still obviously have no idea how long we can talk about this movie, but I mean I'm down for a different kind of challenge, different kind of chat for sure. Let's keep digging into the humor. What did we find funny about this movie? Because I kind of I mean like just like the over the top kind of vulgar nature of it and the swear words and everything. I'm just like, okay, like this doesn't really do anything for me personally. Maybe is it possible that in 2007 this was in some way like different for audiences, so it was kind of shocking and funny in that way, maybe? But even then, like I feel like TV shows have been doing this shit for years, like South Park and things like that. So is that even a valid perspective?
I think it is like your kind of your generic teen sex comedy plot and like with execution and everything like that. But I think it's held to a higher degree just because of the way it is written. I think like so many of the jokes and the lines and the interactions are just regarded to be really, really funny. So like while like I don't think it wasn't anything shocking because you still have films like American Pie long before this, but I think it kind of reinvigorated a tired genre by just being that little bit extra.
Right. Okay. Yeah, see, I haven't seen American Pie. I'm not really exposed to this kind of film that much, honestly. So That probably affects my perspective.
I think,
yeah.
Like, it's not. I think like it definitely is like a genre of comedy that gets, worn out like really quickly, and especially like when you see like I feel like in like the late 2000s, like it was kind of saturated. Really, I mean, like it felt like Marvel movies like kind of just get pumped out constantly. But I think Superbad and like other films like Role Models and stuff, like they were kind of like the ones the top shelf stuff.
Yeah, so I guess, like I said, the swearing and the all the sex oriented shit and that kind of humor doesn't really do much for me. Although I mean, I'm definitely one for stupid humor, just not that kind of I guess genre of stupid humor. I guess I'm much more of a fan of the really stupid moments when there's like what's a good example when like the cop, just I guess the cop characters in general I enjoyed. I started to get a bit sick of them. They're in it a bit too much for me. But when we kind of get introduced to them and just how ridiculous they are, and when like they get calls through the radio of like they're in desperate need of backup and they just shut the walkie-talkie off like it's a pain in the ass. Like that kind of thing just cracks me up. Like it's just so dumb. But I don't know, that kind of thing's more my style, where I'm just like, this is just ridiculous, but I'm so about that. But yeah, so Fitzy, are you a fan of the dick jokes in this movie? How about
that? Well, it's really weird because to me it feels like every single like character out of like, so you got the cops, you got Sarah's character, Jonah Hill and McLovin. They're all, you got 4 different like kind of types of humor, I guess. And like the cops and Michael Cera's humor, like Michael Cera kind of has that awkward, like he's in an awkward situation, he doesn't know what the hell to do, and you just can't help but laugh along at him, I guess. But like I really loved those two, the cops and Cera, but the other two are kind of in the same kind of vulgar vein of like swearing and like going crazy kind of thing. I didn't enjoy that as much, but like at the same time I really enjoyed the cops and Cera, so I'm kind of like
balances out a bit.
Yeah,
I'm with you, I think, with the character stuff, because Jonah Hill's definitely my least favorite part of the movie, and like I think he does it, he does his job well of what they're going for. That's totally fine, but his character and just his over the top swearing and everything, it's just like, okay, this is kind of just, I don't know, this is just well worn territory for me. I don't really need this at all in the movie. Yeah, he didn't really give me that many funny moments, but
I think the majority of jokes that don't land are often from his character. Like that whole anecdote about him drawing dicks when he was 8, whatever it was, like 10. Like it's a bit funny, but I mean, like it's like they spend too much time on that. Like that's the one that comes to mind immediately. I'm like, I didn't really laugh that much at that one.
Yeah, so, that's a great example.
Yeah, but I love Michael Cera's reaction. He's just like super gay. But
some of the dialogue's really good, and I can I just like when we get that kind of feeling of these actors just kind of are generally comfortable with one another, and you can tell like when there's improv and when there's not, and that kind of just vibe that you kind of just get with the chemistry. I think I really enjoy that, and I think the movie does that quite well, especially I think in the first half when like Michael Cera and Jonah Hill are just kind of hanging out places and they're just chatting. Like I like that kind of thing.
I love Michael Cera's interactions with his home ec partner.
I thought
that was super funny, and like how they bring him back at the end with the party, and like they're like on the couches drinking, like although it's only a small bit, like I think it was really funny just in the way that they interact.
Which partner's that? I'm thinking real hard.
The
Asian character.
Yeah. You know how in home ec Jonah Hill isn't his partner because there was not an amount of people in the class.
Cooks the cake.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so like Michael Cera's partner was just that kid.
Oh right. Wow, I completely forgot that. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. That was good when Jonah Hill was going off with that teacher. I like that.
Wow.
But no, I'm with you. I like that you brought up the dick thing because, Yeah,
wish dick thing.
Oh, all of them, but no. Yeah, the drawing analogy thing, like analogy story, whatever. Because that was a time where, like, sure, this is kind of, deserves a bit of a chuckle, but I feel like they put way too much emphasis on it. Like, this is meant to be just like killer funny, when it's like it's not really. Like, it's like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool, but yeah, you're right, it lasts way too long. And I'm just like, all right.
I think the setup for it is good, because like when he talks about it as if it's like a serious disease. It's like something like 8% of like kids get it, and like it's super rare and whatever. And like that kind of it draws you in. And then when he says I drew dicks, and you kind of like you're like, oh, what? And like that's kind of where the laugh is. But then they kind of keep on expanding it more and more and more and more, and
yeah, 100% well said. Yeah, because then, yeah, you're right. The it feels like the punchline is where you said it was, but then we get the thing where like the young Becca character like picks up the paper, and I'm like, all right, like I know where this is going. Like, we can wrap this up, I think. I guess another part of the movie that disappoints me a bit, in the sense of what we're talking about with the second half kind of lagging for us, is just the fact that the plot's pretty obviously straightforward. That's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But just the fact that the story itself doesn't really, to me, build to anything interesting. I feel like this film still could have in some way had the potential to, we're building to this party, getting to this location, and once everything, we get there and what happens there and everything. Like, I feel like you can craft a narrative that builds to something interesting and to at least some sort of emotional climax for the characters. Even it doesn't have to be that serious or anything, but just something, whereas I didn't really feel like, as I was progressing through the second half and we're getting closer to this party and everything that happens with the cops and Jonah Hill getting hit by the car twice and everything like that, like, that's fine, but I don't know, I feel like there could have been more done with the story going into the third act.
I feel like at the very end it kind of does do the, like, them separating well. Like, there isn't much of it really, but like, they have the sleepover and then they kind of like at the mall, and they kind of, the last time they see, or maybe not the last time they see each other, but they kind of like the last scene
going their separate ways.
Yeah, and the last scene is kind of Jonah Hill looking up the elevator, and then he sees him and he looks again, and then he just walks away, kind of like that. I kind of like the very end, but I agree that like in the third act there's not like, it doesn't really lead to a kind of emotional climax or anything, but
I think it's and you can kind of see it more of like a journey rather than this destination type thing, where like the characters realize stuff about themselves throughout, especially with Fogel, like McLovin, whatever you want to call him, and his interaction with like the cops. Like I think this time around, I think I appreciated that interaction more than like between Sarah and Hill, and like it's so like the character of Fogel is just really, really funny, like, and it's not something I really like appreciated the first time around, but something I thought was better this time. Sorry, I really just traveled off there. But like in terms of like the journey, like type thing, and like a realization throughout, I kind of feel like that's more what it was going for, rather than like this big hit at the end.
Oh, sure, yeah. No, that's a good point about the ending, though. I didn't even consider. I didn't even really think about that properly. No, that's a good point. It does do that. I guess I just wish there was a bit more of it, But yeah, no, that was a good counterpoint though to that. But yeah, but even taking away, I think, the emotional side of things and the character-driven side of things, it's more just, even still, like, I feel like, because on paper, like, they went through a ton of shit to get to that party. They went through another party, and all kinds of crazy shit happened on the way there. I just feel like it should have felt more like an actual journey in some way. It felt like the whole series of events leading them there could have felt like a bigger deal to them actually getting there, whereas it just kind of felt like I was just watching him fumble around, and that was fine, but it felt a bit anticlimactic in that way, I guess, is all I meant.
Well, what did, like, because I was reading much of looking on like Letterboxd generally, and someone was talking about Fogel's journey, or like what he learned from the cops or something, but like what did he really learn from the cops? What was his kind of lesson, I guess?
It's kind of one of like reinvention, and like how he doesn't have to be the person that his classmates have labeled him as. How at the end, like, people are like, oh wow, he's a badass, and and he kind of realizes that he is a cool kid because he's been drinking with cops and shooting guns and shit. It's one of those type of things.
You can be the person you want to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. I like that.
And do you?
Yeah. Let me hit you with some trivia because I think this links well with what I do appreciate about the movie. Writers Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg started this script when they were just 13 years old because we just wanted to see if we could write a movie. And I actually really like that, and I kind of appreciate the movie on a whole nother level with just that in mind. Like, looking through the lens of just these two friends just literally trying to write a movie with dumb humour and stupid shit going on. And then still, obviously, as they mature, still being able to inject some of those cool little character things that we just discussed into it. I think they do a good job of that.
Mm.
It adds a kind of another layer to the creation of the film other than just, these two adults trying to write a really dumb script with dumb humour. It actually kind of makes the creation of it more personal, especially since, and I've got more trivia here, but it's kind of obvious, but how the characters are named after the writers and their friend. So, yeah, that kind of personal element, I think, meta way adds to the movie for me.
Right. It's more like a passion project.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it has that personal significance for them. I think we kind of touched on all the characters. We kind of got to McLovin there. Do you guys have a favourite character, Liam?
Yeah, well, Sarah's character, Evan, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you said that. That's right. I'm sorry, I failed that. How about you, Jaden?
Yeah, it's between Bill Hader's character and McLovin, I reckon. Because
oh yeah,
I don't know. I think Bill Hader's great, and I think he does really well in this film. And like I said, I think everything they do with Fogel and McLovin, it's I think I don't know. I love the way the story unfolds, especially with him. How he goes from this side friend and he goes on his own side quest. He's kind of like Merry and Pippin, and how they took Toggle off, and then you got Frodo and Sam taking the ring, but then they all meet up in the end. It's kind of like that.
It is like that.
And,
That's true.
I've always been a big Pippin fan, so I guess we'll go along with say that I like McLovin as well on the side.
I guess Michael Cera's my favourite character too, Fitzy. I think. I don't know. I don't really love any of the characters in this movie, but that's not really a criticism, really. It's just kind of... Yeah, no, I guess he is my favourite character. I will say, I just personally find, I just find, anything... And I get that this is very much just rooted in this movie, and that's fine, but just, anything with just, super awkward teenagers in these written scenes just makes me cringe so hard, which is... I get totally the point, and it works for me so well. I just cringe so hard. At the start with Michael Cera and things like that, I'm just like, Jesus Christ, I'm just cringing. But
the thing where he says goodbye and they walk the same way, it's a thing that I've experienced so many times in real life as well.
Yeah, it's like all good faster. Oh god. Yeah, Michael Cera's scenes at the start are just gold for me, the best part. But
I think all three of us can somewhat relate to Michael Cera. I think we all kind of got that awkwardness about us. So
sure.
I'm pretty sure if we were to see ourselves in any of the characters, it probably would be Sarah's character.
Nah, man, I see Jonah Hill and myself, obviously.
Oh yeah, because you're just an alpha Chad.
Oh yeah. Oh god, no, that's a good. I like that. Yeah, that was the scene I was talking about, and I love when he because it's one thing when they turn in the one direction, they say, "See, yeah, that's funny," but then when he starts power walking, that's even better.
Yeah,
instead of get in front real fast.
When he accidentally, punches her, and just has to endure it. It's just. Oh.
He handled it like a champ, I thought too. Actually, to be fair.
Yeah.
Kind
of.
I feel like that could have gone way worse for him.
She was pretty understanding of what happened, though, so I think it was more on her part.
Oh, yeah, true. That's a good point. Oh, God. Maybe I do like this movie more than I thought.
How do you feel about Emma Stone's character and Rebecca, then, the two kind of, female leads? Well, not leads, but, the two prime female characters. How do you feel about them?
Oh, they were fine. I mean, Emma Stone was better than Becca. Was kind of like whatever. She was just kind of generic to me. But
Yeah.
No, Emma Stone was cool. I liked her. This was her film debut, wasn't it? I think so.
Was it?
I think it was. I think I saw that in the trivia. I didn't add it, but yeah, no, it was. Yeah. So that's interesting. But yeah, no, I liked her more than Becca. Yeah. But you got to choose one of them, Fitzy.
Choose one. No, they were good. That's pretty interesting. It's a debut because she acted well in this movie for sure, but she wasn't there that much. Neither was Becca, but no, they were good.
No, yeah, no, I think Emma Stone's is better just because I just like the stuff with her and Jonah Hill kind of in the last section of the movie, and it kind of elevates him as a character a bit as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to give a shout out. I did like one of the Jonah Hill sequences I did like was when he's in the store or whatever and he's trying to figure out how he's going to get this alcohol and he's just like imagining these different scenarios, and the one with the granny, that was a banger.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, in the first scenario, like where you just imagine himself like buying it from the cashier, I thought it was all legit at first until he pulls out the $80 bill, and like it's a funny way to reveal like it's awkward. I mean, like obviously, like you can probably tell just because like the interaction, you just know it's not going to unfeel like that in this kind of film. But like I think the $80 bill was a funny revelation.
Yeah, definitely. It fooled me at first.
I love all the director references and film references in there. There's like a bunch.
I don't remember it much off the top of my head.
Oh, they were like
the Star was at one point.
They talked about like they talked about
Orson Welles and like Citizen
Welles. How like Welles' short career was like Jonah Hill's like short relationship or something. Like he started it but then couldn't get it. Like he had a limited amount of good movies or whatever.
Oh right, yeah.
But there was like a bunch of others. I can't remember right now, but there were plenty.
I just agree with that point about Orson Welles. I think he made some pretty decent films as he went on.
Yeah. I've never really seen Citizen Kane.
We should make that a debate at the end of the show, if you want. Orson Welles.
So when Fogel first comes out when they're first buying the alcohol, he's kind of wearing that white shirt and that yellow vest, and a lot of people were replacing images from the Joker with him. When the trailer came out for the Joker, because the costumes are kind of similar. And there was like a lot of I remember seeing trailers where Fogel was inserted in some of the things, and it was just really funny. And watching it this time, I had that memory in my head, so it made me laugh even more. Because I can't really describe it because it's a visual thing, but the way that they edit him in, and they make it slow and dramatic, and how they touch up the scene is just so funny. So now watching it back as well with that kind of in mind, it kind of made me laugh again, as something that probably shouldn't have been as funny, but something I did appreciate.
I feel like Fogel may very well be a solid origin story, for a villain in this movie. Even his ending and everything, he's a badass now.
Yeah.
He's still kind of creepy. How about I hit you with some more trivia? This is a really fun one, guys. Eminem says that this is his favourite movie of all time. This was in the IMDb trivia. Don't yell at me. He even referenced it in his two songs, "Brainless" and "Ballin' Uncontrollably." Was that what he was doing watching this movie? Was he balling uncontrollably?
Was that convincing? Sorry.
Super convincing. Super convincing. Yeah, the audience laughed along with that one.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Michael Cera's mother actually read the script before he did, and she was the one who convinced him to try out for the part. There you go, Fitz. You can thank Michael Cera's mother.
That is so Michael Cera. I don't know what, but that's perfect.
What else is Michael Cera in? Because I know his name. I feel like I've seen him around, but...
Juno and Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is probably his other famous stuff.
Scott Pilgrim. Yeah.
And he kind of plays a similar character in both films where he's kind of the socially awkward kind of, funny kid.
Yeah. That's just him in real life, really.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think it's what's that TV series he's in? Is it Arrested Development? Is that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, I think he stars in that. So.
Yeah, he's pretty much the same kind of character in that.
Totally not being typecast then. Okay, cool.
I
I
think
guess I
I-
haven't
hold
seen him
on.
in anything then.
I think is he? I think he has a small cameo role in 21 Jump Street where he plays like a similar character but kind of different because like his character's kind of a bit more, out there. If it is him, I'm thinking of.
Shouldn't think like Johnny Depp at the end. I don't know.
Is that a Seth Rogen movie? Like, does he produce on those?
Yeah, probably. I mean, it's that kind of film.
They
Just kind of the vibe you get.
Well, they it's funny they reference 21 Jump Street in this, and then Jonah Hill, Jonah Hill's in 21 Jump Street.
Was Jonah Hill known before this movie? Do you guys know? Because I mean, he's a big deal these days. I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially like he's kind of taken like a more dramatic turn with his career as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it kind of, I think it started with like War Dogs, which is kind of that bridging, comedy. Oh well, I mean, Wolf of Wall Street really, it was kind of bridging that comedy drama. But like now you've got him like directing films like mid-90s, and you've got him starring in like series like Maniac. Wait, Maniac, is that the thing with Emma Stone on Netflix? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So like I think he's I don't know. I think his career is pretty interesting.
I said how the lead character's named after the writers. Yep, cool. Here we go. Because Jonah Hill and Seth Rogen are such great friends, they were quoted as saying that when they were casting for Evan, they weren't so much looking for a good actor as they were casting for a new best friend. Michael Cera once again jumps in there. Good for him. You guys got anything else to throw out there?
I think like the one thing not one thing, but like something that I think like brings the movie down and kind of, in terms of like comparing it to other comedies, is that it doesn't do much creatively for the film medium. It's kind of just like, joke, anecdote, joke. Whereas like if you look at the films of like Edgar Wright or Guy Ritchie, they kind of, they use the camera smarter, and like they kind of bring in this kind of visual type of comedy as well. And that's just something that like I think it's just something in that genre really, because that genre is pretty straightforward. But like in that type of film, in those type of comedies, it's kind of lacking, and that's why they're like, I'll never see them on the same hill and on the same level as other ones. But it's a minor thing, and when the film's pretty funny anyway, I don't think you need it too much.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right. But you're right. Yeah, nothing in this movie that I saw, really stood out to me as being unique. Like, as much as we discussed a little bits and pieces we really liked and I really liked, but at the end of the day, this movie kind of, I think, does fall under the umbrella of forgettable to me.
I don't know. I think there's so many quotable lines, like, prepare to be fucked by the long dick of the law, and, the funny thing about my back is I dislocated on my cock, and, and, like, that whole interaction of, like, him on, like, the soccer field when, like, Jonah Hill comes running on, and, like, his team, is his teammate, like, Dave Franco, whichever one it is. And he's like, come on, what are you doing? We're 2 points down. He's like, calm down, Greg, it's fucking soccer. That shit's just so funny to me, and like it's always gonna like stay on my mind,
Yeah. God, man, maybe I should have seen this movie earlier. These would be some great quotes to throw out there in high school scenarios for sure.
Yeah,
I'm disappointed.
Yeah, maybe that is. I think maybe that's why I enjoy it so much, just because the context I had with the film, with mates just talking shit about it. Because I mean, like I remember in like year 11, we had a student teacher, and like we showed him a picture of like the McLovin thing, because like we were talking about it with one of our mates who hadn't seen it, and like the teacher saw it and was like, oh yeah, that's McLovin, like straight away, and like that kind of became a joke in that class as well. So like
that's awesome that the movie does that it kind of creates that for you. That's awesome. All right, guys. Well, I got to recommend then everyone watch Superbad while you're in high school. There you go. Do that.
Bit late for the majority of our audience.
Yeah, sorry. Very mature film critic audience.
The scene where they actually talk about the idea, I think is funny. Like, why would you say you're 25? And like, it was between that and Muhammad. Why the hell would Muhammad? But yeah. I think, like, it has very funny parts, but then again, it did drag a lot for me this time, and like, yeah, I think the first half was like far superior, and
yeah, I would have much rather we'd gotten more time of them just hanging around in high school doing that kind of shit, as opposed to the adventures, getting to the party. Like when they kind of fall into the other party and the shit that occurs there, I'm like, oh, okay, I'd kind of rather if we just got more high school stuff.
Mm.
I do like how it all takes place, over the course of a single day. Because, I think it's like, traditionally in these type of films, I'll set it up over like some period of time so you can establish the characters as, you can really like define the characters in their roles by showing multiple examples of how they are in that setting. But, this film kind of does it well with just, a few select scenes, and they can just move on from that point and they can just tell the rest of the day. So, I think I do kind of like that. I think,
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Probably, in high school, maybe a bit longer and a bit less of that second party. I think that's probably like one of the weaker points. I think you're right in saying that, but I don't think it's something that's too bad.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. You're right. The movie does do a good job of making these, showing us, everything the audience needs to know about these characters within the 1 day scenario, and it still feel organic. Like you still it's totally believable that this all happened in a day. It's not like, wow, really? You jammed that much time into the day, Excellent. Superbad, we've seen it now. Let's give it a score out of 10. I mean, we've seen it now. You guys already said what I'm on about. I'll give the movie I'll give it a 6 out of 10. I liked it. I liked it more than I disliked it, for sure. I do think the second half drags, as Fitzy mentioned. What's your name again? And I do think, aspects of it are kind of boring in that way a little bit. But, definitely still got laugh out loud moments sprinkled in there. And a little bit of cool character stuff as well. And, I mean, it's not that big of a time investment, or, hour 53 minutes. It at times can feel a little long, but, it's fine. I like the movie. I'll say that much. So 6 out of 10 from me. What about you, Fitzy?
Yeah, as I said, I thought it was okay, and, like, it does feel a bit, I mean, it doesn't, as Jaden said, have a very, like, kind of generic, plain filming style, and drags a bit, and blah, 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 so I'd also give it a 6 out of 10. If there was just more Sarah, and there was more high school stuff, it'd be higher, but, like, it does get annoying for me just watching, what's his name? It's like Hill at the party and waiting for, yeah, I don't know, just, yeah, 6 out of 10. What about you, Jane?
I'm going to give it an 8. Like, I agree with everything you guys are saying about, like, the stuff that drags it down, a bit too much Hill, it's a bit too long. But, I think because of the, I still think it's a funny ass film. And it's something that, that you can just watch with mates. You can just talk about whatever, like, casually, and you can just bring up a reference every now and then. And I think it's, like, great for those reasons. So yeah, I'm going to stick with an 8. Which is actually a step up, because I think I gave it a 7 the first time, but moving up.
Any movie that can give you that kind of personal connection to it, that's awesome. Hip hip hooray. All right. Well, this is going to be the shortest episode of this podcast ever, but, whatever. Doesn't bother me, because the news chat segment is bloody bare bones this week. So, one thing I do have, I'll throw it out there, the saga of Tenet releasing or not continues. We got a little report from NATO, which is the National Association of Theatre Owners in the United States, and their current, I guess, they're not like a union. That's not what that is. So I bet they're like, I guess, the collective individuals of theatre owners in some way. I don't know how the hell that works, but anyway, their collective current statistics and reports are suggesting at this time that by the time Tenet releases on July 17th, that 90% of theatres will be open in the US. Of course, this is just a prediction. Who the hell knows? I don't particularly know what statistics they're using to measure this. I would assume it's a combination of just obviously internal financials with all the theatre owners combined with I guess the same medical shit that we all know as members of the public, and then maybe just some kind of inside knowledge that these theatre owners have, maybe contact with the studios in some way. Who knows? I don't know what they're using, but I assume it's some combination, perhaps all of those different things, to get this statistic.
It reminds me of like a time travel paradox. It's like, if they say it's 90%, then it makes people more likely to like advocate for the opening and like going and stuff, which makes the 90% more likely to happen. You know.
Sure. So it's like a mental game they're playing.
Maybe.
You know, like people like create their own prophecy type thing. You know, like the the people said we're going to run out of toilet paper, so buy it, and then everyone bought toilet paper, and then they actually did run out of toilet paper. So like, oh no, it actually happened. What's going to happen now? You know, it's kind of that idea.
But hey, I mean, if it means Tenet's coming out, that's a positive outcome for me anyway.
Yeah, I still don't see it, and especially now, I think there's going to be a second wave of the virus in America as well, just because of everything that's going on. I mean, with everything that's going on, is that going to delay stuff further? So, I mean, I guess they know more than I do, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I guess it presents another question of how much, I don't know, when this report, if this is an up-to-date report, is it aware of current events as of literally yesterday, you know? Or was this something that was publicised recently, but it kind of been an internal conclusion that it was come to maybe a week ago? And I think that does make a difference. Hey, I just wanted to kind of throw some more optimism out there towards the Tenet gods, please. You know? Just trying to spread a bit of hope. I think it was an important update because we had mentioned the likelihood of theatres, and if NATO, I mean, if you're an organisation with that important sounding of an acronym, I'm kind of inclined to trust you a little bit. Just a little bit. The only other news item we have this week is the fact that there's a Wolfman movie and Ryan Gosling might be in it. Now, Jade, I don't even know what Wolfman is. Can you tell me?
Wolfman is kind of like one of those classic Universal horror movies, you know. I think the first one was released in the 40s. And I think this upcoming film is meant to be part of the new, you know, like the Universal Dark Universe type thing. How they're trying to re-release all the famous monsters, you know, your Frankensteins, your mummies, your Draculas, and Wolfman, of course, is part of that too. So the movie comes from like that kind of area. How Ryan Gosling got involved in the rumors, I have no idea, because it really doesn't seem like his type of film, but, you know, we'll see.
Yeah, apparently, like, Gosling pitched the idea based on, like, Gyllenhaal's Nightcrawler movie, which sounds really weird. Because it's just a thriller kind of thing, but I don't know, maybe, like, is Wolfman that kind of a similar character to Gyllenhaal's in that or something? I don't know.
I mean, not traditionally. I mean, Wolfman is just, you know, classic monster movie. That's what I know it is. I mean, I'm not sure if like one of the iterations, you know, kind of reintroduces that type of thing, or whether they're just going for a new outlook. But you know,
right? Yeah, that's why it was weird, because I couldn't see the connection. But yeah,
can we try and explore the lore of Wolfman? What is Wolfman? So is he a werewolf? Is that what he is?
No, he's Wolfman.
So he's not a werewolf.
I have no idea.
Isn't that what a werewolf?
No, a werewolf transforms, whereas a Wolfman is a Wolfman.
Sure. So he doesn't. So Ryan Gosling Wolfman doesn't transform. He's just permanently in state of Wolfman.
I'm not sure. They might change the law. It's uncertain times, Zach.
But as we know, Wolfman, is he just Wolfman?
I believe so.
Okay. And does he, like, what traits are humanoid and which traits are wolf?
He's a human that's very furry. That's pretty much what it is.
Right, okay.
With some sharp teeth.
Sure. And what, like, does he have any other, does he have, like, agility or some shit? Can he, like, climb roofs and shit like that?
I'm going to be honest, Zach, I have no idea.
Oh, damn it.
I think he's just a person, mate.
That's kind of dull. So, I guess we're not going to get the ultimate Godzilla versus King Kong versus Wolfman if he's just a dude with some teeth.
It's unlikely.
Yeah, no.
I would have liked to have seen Ryan Gosling versus King Kong.
Oh, sorry, no, Wolfman is a werewolf. I was wrong.
So he's just a straight up werewolf.
Yeah.
Okay.
What about Wolfman versus Wolverine? That's a fight I'd like to see.
You got to get Universal and old Disney to team up there. Get that one to happen.
Well, you know, Disney will probably own them in like 5 years anyway, so.
100%.
The day that Disney owns Universal is the day the world ends.
this is how Ryan Gosling gets into the MCU. 100%.
Hmm.
This is his role. He knows it too. That's why he's taking it. He's like, yo, I can get on the MCU train.
I'd never want
Wolfman
Gosling to be
door.
tied up in the MCU.
I mean, everyone's getting tied up into the MCU. It's inevitable. Every actor that's ever been alive is going to end up in the MCU.
That's why I don't like how like people like rumor like young and upcoming talents to get to be involved. I mean, like I don't want I don't want to see Saoirse Ronan in an MCU film. I don't want to see Olivia Cook and Anya Taylor-Joy in an MCU film. They're good actresses and they should not be involved in those type of products. I mean, go for what you want to do. If you really want to do an MCU film, go for it. But I mean, I don't know how to explain it. I just think it's because I don't know. You get it?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, cheers for tea.
Isn't Anya Taylor-Joy in New Mutants?
Yeah, but that's not technically MCU. So I mean, And New Mutants seems like a kind of more experimental, type of superhero film. So I'll allow it.
Yeah, I was literally about to say, will you allow that? Nice.
And plus, she was already in Split as well, which is technically kind of superhero shit. So I mean, like,
yes, it's true. She's already betrayed you. She's going to the MCU already, 100%.
Yeah,
she's already signed that contract.
Or I just can't. Yeah, nah.
Yeah, when is New Mutants even going to come out? I feel so sorry for everyone that made that movie.
Yeah, I mean,
never.
Is it going to be straight to VOD now? Is that the new rumor?
Well, I don't know. Well, it was going to come to theaters when? April, I think. And then obviously all this shit happened. But the fact that they haven't released it yet indicates they're still waiting for that theater release, I guess.
Yeah, wasn't the original theater release like 2 years ago now?
Yes, yeah, it was. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been ages.
I hope it does get released though. Like, I hope it's not one of those films that just ends up getting shelved and like it's complete and just sits there.
Oh no,
because of
it'll be released at this point, 100%. Like, I think that the time of everyone thought it was going to be cancelled for about a year. It was just sitting on the shelf, and the fact that they made, we got a whole new trailer for it only early in the year, and they committed to a brand new date. If they were going to cancel it, they would have already done it a year ago. I think they committed to it. Let's get into what we've been watching. I've got like nothing. So I mean, Fitzy, do you want to go first?
Sure.
Oh, good. That was some good enthusiasm. I like it.
Yeah, I've only got one thing. I saw Primal Fear for the first time this week. It was Edward Norton's debut film, and basically it's on Netflix. It's this courthouse drama, and it's about like Edward Norton's this like choir boy, and it's about whether he killed this priest, this kind of dodgy priest, and the film's like from the perspective of this like criminal lawyer, like he's defending Edward Norton's character, and but like yeah, I can't really say. It doesn't have that compelling a synopsis. There's nothing I can really say that like be like, wow, I want to watch this film now without spoiling it, because like the good stuff about the film, it kind of goes into spoiler territory. But
okay.
Anyway, Edward Norton he didn't win. It was his first film, and he got nominated for supporting actor on this one, and it's just really great. It's just a really great film. It's between the defense attorney and his ex is defending the victim or the state, and it's just like, yeah, it's. Again, I can't really say that why it's good because it's very spoiler heavy, but I would recommend just watch it because like it's a classic. But as soon as you look into why it's a classic, it's like, oh shit, I just spoiled myself. So like,
okay,
just like just watch it.
I appreciate your caution.
Primal Fear.
When did that come out?
1996.
Okay, awesome.
Directed by Gregory Hoblet. He made Fracture. You've seen that?
No, I've seen Fractured. That's a Netflix movie.
Oh, and it has Laura Linney from Ozark.
Oh, she's great. Yeah.
Richard Gere. It's been in nothing we would know, but he's a good old actor. But yeah, that's what I watched.
Cool. Jaden?
I had a pretty big week, but there was a fair few rewatches. But of the new stuff, I watched Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, which is a Studio Ghibli film. It's really good. I mean, like one of the themes in like most Ghibli films is that of like, you know, the earth and like nature versus man and stuff like that. And that was kind of like, you know, I think it was really well done in this. It's got all the same charm, you know, great animation, great music, you know, really interesting story, and really, you know, great characters. I'd recommend any Ghibli film, to be honest. So that was great. I watched Hannibal, which rounds up the Hannibal trilogy of Manhunter, Silence of the Lambs, and now this one. Definitely the weakest in the series. Just uninteresting and, you know, generic, and Julianne Moore is not a very good Clarice at all. Especially after, you know, you have Jodie Foster as, you know, what she establishes the character as, and I mean it's a fair jump in time. I think it's like some 10 years later. So, you know, it's believable enough that she's evolved into, you know, what Julianne Moore is, but I still don't like what they've done with the character there.
Can you not? Yeah. What about Anthony Hopkins though? Can you still not go wrong with him though? Or
I mean, he does fine. He has nowhere near the presence that he does in Silence, but that's because he does have like in Silence of the Lambs he's constrained to one cage, but he's so menacing and threatening and just, you know, terrifying, like truly terrifying. But in Manhunter, I mean, like he's got unlimited range, and, you know, they travel the world, and like, you know, like, you know, he should be much more threatening, but he just doesn't have the same presence. Still a decent.
Oh, that sucks.
Still a decent, you know, villain, but just, you know, nowhere near as compelling.
Yeah, sure.
I also watched Tokyo Drifter, which was brilliant. I mean, I don't really know how to describe it. It's kind of like if Tarantino was Asian and was like in the 1960s. That was really great. I mean, it's such a wonderful use of color in film, and like the only bad thing about it is the way it's edited, because like at the start it kind of jumps a bit and like the story gets a bit confusing, but like as you stick with it and as you go on, it becomes a lot more clear and you understand it a lot more. And like it's just, the characters are so suave and charming, and it's just really easy to get behind them, even though, you know, they're all Yakuza hitmen and stuff. But that was really great. And I also finally got to watch Collateral. As we know,
yeah, awesome.
I wasn't around for the first Cinema Effect episode, but I watched Collateral, and it was actually a lot better than I thought it would be. I kind of went into it with, you know, just it's another action film, but I was pleasantly surprised.
If we did that.
I think I still gave it like the I think I still rated it like roughly the same as what you guys did, but I don't know why in my head, like, in fact, you know, the discussion that I listened to from you guys, but I don't know, I kind of saw it kind of sounded a bit more generic than what it was. I don't know, I really liked it. Yeah.
Let's redo it. Let's just.
I think one of you commented on the music and how it wasn't very present, and like I do agree with that. So,
there
you go.
But we did say it was kind of, I don't know. It's like it still has its own like kind of style to it. I think we did say that, didn't we?
I don't know. I only remember the bad stuff you said.
No idea. I've got no idea what I said.
That was like 13 weeks ago, Liam.
Yeah, exactly. I like the nightclub scene. I remember that. That was awesome.
I was really surprised they killed off like I know, like, did you guys talk about how they killed off Mark Ruffalo's character? Because that was something I completely forgot then. And like when it happened, I was like, oh,
good, yeah.
Yeah, that was my favorite part. Yeah. Because it's just like so unexpected. It's like,
and especially because, like, you know, he starts being on the same side, and you're like, oh, you know, it's actually gonna help him, and then bang, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the audience.
I do love the ending though. like the way the ending wraps up nicely with the thing Tom Cruise mentioned at the start about, you get on the MT, whatever it is, and you sit there for 6 hours, no one knows you're dead.
That was a highlight for me too.
Yeah. I think it was a stupid move though. I mean, like at the end, how the two characters walk away from his dead body when, I mean, she's like a defense attorney. She very well knows that they need that body to prove everything that just happened. But she's like, yeah, no, I'll just walk away and let him ride on the train. How, I mean, like,
let's go get the body. No. We need the symbolism, bro.
Yeah, good symbolism, but like super impractical.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my week, excluding rewatches.
Do you want to touch on any highlight rewatches or
Super 8 is always a good film. To this day, it's still J.J. Abrams' only original film. That's not involved in like some kind of remake or sequel type thing. And
interesting.
I think it's really great. I think it's one of his best films. I mean, it's better than any of the Star Treks and Star Wars he was involved in. It was kind of like the It before It, of kind of those teenage characters dealing against this like supernatural force, unreliable parents and, these not this, 70s, 80s charm and this, I think it was, I don't know. I love Super 8. It's such a good film. And especially because the characters are so relatable as well. I mean, not so much the primary the primary kid, but some of the background kids. I can really see parts of myself in. So I was like, oh yeah, I can get behind that.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I love J.J. Abrams. I need to watch that.
Haven't you seen it?
No, I honestly think it might be the only movie of his I haven't seen.
Dude, it's so good.
That's awesome.
We'll do it for the podcast, surely.
Oh yeah, good shout. Yeah, add it to the list. We will absolutely. Yeah. Well, do you know what his first film he directed was?
I think it was honestly Star Trek.
No, Mission Impossible 3 was for sure before. Oh,
right. Sorry. Okay, yeah. I haven't seen the Mission Impossible, so I don't know. I think it might be. Because I think he's been producing for a lot longer than what he's been directing, but in terms of things he's actually directed, I'm pretty sure. What do we have? He directed an episode he directed a few episodes of Lost, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Mission Impossible 3 was his first film. Yeah.
Awesome.
And then Star Trek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, no, so that means, that is the only movie of his I haven't seen for sure then. Yeah. I need to check it out.
Yeah. I think Abrams is great, especially when you've seen his TED Talk where he talks about the mystery box and how he writes and shit. I think it's really
absolutely.
Yeah, his films are really interesting.
Yeah.
I think Super 8 is the best one, like I was saying. Just I haven't seen Mission Impossible 3, so not too sure, but
that movie's great. I love that movie.
Is the Mission Impossible series worth looking into? I mean, because every time I think about clicking on it, I'm like, is it just another spy film?
Have you seen none of them?
No.
Oh, dude, no, 100% worth your time. Well, I mean, two's real bad, but honestly, you can just skip it. Honestly, you could. There's no harm. I'd watch them all and just skip 2, and I think that's totally worth your time. 100%.
You mean 2, the Australian one?
Yeah.
Nah, you can't skip 2.
Yeah, if it's Aussie, then I'm not going to skip it.
I mean, but it's not Australian. They're just hanging around in Sydney, and it's not even good. It's not very inspiring Sydney for us people.
2 has one of the best third acts, I think, in terms of that scene where he
the motorbike
uses
the mask and stuff at the end.
Yeah, that one scene with the motorbike. That's not in every single one of the franchise.
Oh no, but it has got a standout motorbike in it. But yeah,
because that's my perception of the series. Whenever I think about it, whenever I hear of it, it's just motorbike action, jumping from roof action, fighting action, he's a spy and he's floating on the floor. What?
On a surface level, that is what it is. I just think that they do such a good job at that is their goal. That is 100% what their objective is to do every single time, and they just are so. Every single time just want to elevate themselves and one-up themselves in it, doing that better than anyone's ever done it before. And at the end of the day, sure, that is what it is, but it's phenomenal. It's
Simon Pegg's in him, isn't he? I'll watch it for Simon Pegg.
Yeah. Oh, he's great. Yeah.
But there's a bunch of clever things they do with the plot as well. They kind of do a similar thing in each one with that kind of... Yeah.
It's like a Now You See Me scenario, I think, for you, Jane, where... no high cinema whatsoever, but I think they're awesome.
Well, aren't 4 and 5 really highly regarded? Like
5 and 6 are... Oh, 4, 5 and 6, yeah. Yeah, those
6?
3 are kind of generally really, yeah.
When did 6 come out?
2018.
Oh, it's... Oh.
Wait, hold on. It doesn't go like Ghost Protocol and then number 5 or whatever it is?
Ghost Protocol's 4, Rogue Nation's 5, Fallout 6.
Ah.
Yeah.
Shit, I've got 6 more to watch now. Damn.
No, skip 2. You got 5.
You can't skip 2. 2 is great.
I'll make my judgment based on the first one.
It's really dog. All right. Well, the first one is definitely... I mean, the first... Like, I think 2 is, bad, but...
Isn't...
The first one's definitely the weakest, but it's still good,
Wait, isn't the first one Coppola?
Directed?
Yeah. Yeah, obviously, yeah.
Oh... maybe?
I'll just look it up.
I think you might... I feel like you're onto something with that, but I can't remember.
I'm
excited.
No. Brian De Palma, Scarface.
That's right. I knew it was someone weird like that. Where I was surprised to hear that.
Right.
No, Mission Impossible 1, I think it's the weakest of them. And
Really?
I think they do such a good job of building on that movie. But I still think it's a good movie. Yeah.
Number 1.
Yeah.
I thought number 1 was pretty good. I mean,
it is, I agree. It is pretty good. I just think it's the weakest. Not counting 2.
I mean, they're all on stand, so I might. Are they all? I know for sure the first few are on stand, so I might give them a go this week. Have a look.
Yeah, absolutely, awesome.
But
I
mean,
let's just do a whole episode on that.
Isn't one kind of one of the more highly regarded ones? Like, I think it is.
I don't know what. Yeah, I don't. By that statement, I don't know. Like, it depends. I guess just what circles you're looking in. It's kind of. It's to me, it's not. I don't really see that, but I don't know. Maybe on Letterboxd it is. I've got no idea.
I just feel like when I hear the series mentioned, it's always 1 and then 4, 5, and then now 6 apparently. So I feel like they're the ones that people talk about. Like when I've seen them mentioned, they're the ones that I see. Like 2 and 3,
sense.
I hardly see referenced.
I think 3's. I don't understand why people don't mention 3. I think it's severely underrated if that's true, because I don't really know common consensus. So if that's true, that means it's underrated to me. But yeah, no, people definitely mention the kind of ever since they started giving them subtitles with 4, 5, 6, they don't give them numbers anymore. That's kind of the rebooted trilogy. That's where Simon Pegg comes in. People really love those. Yeah.
Wasn't Simon Pegg in the third one? Because I read that the only project that J.J. Abrams has been involved in, and that Simon Pegg isn't in, is Super 8.
No, he is in the third one, but it's like a minor role. But he becomes like a major character, but he isn't really in 3 from memory. Yeah. I think that's right. Yeah. All right. Cool. Mission Impossible. Good stuff. Let's get into our listener submitted comments for last week's question. Last week's question was what your favorite film score, soundtrack, music is of all time, and
well
why.
Phrased.
Super well phrased. Absolutely. Just imagine, if that was written out with commas, imagine that. But even that's not correct English. But anyway, Henry wrote into us and said, I think The Lord of the Rings has the best OST of any movie franchise ever made, even just viewing it on a technical level in the leitmotif scattered throughout, which are developed throughout the entire trilogy, subtly reflecting the events of the film through the introduction and removal of certain instruments and stuff that I, as a musical pleb, I love the word pleb, could not understand at all, but can still appreciate. Hans Zimmer may be a king, but Howard Shore is a god. That's a great final sentence. Thanks, Henry. Howard Shore is great.
What's a king to a god, but what's a god to a non-believer?
Is that a quote from something?
I only know it from a song by one of the Wu-Tang people, I think. I don't know if it's something from...
Thanks. Luke wrote into us and said, Indiana Jones soundtrack is great. Luke just loves Indiana Jones. He just writes in about Indiana Jones every chance he gets. The sound encapsulates the idea of Dr. Jones. The adventure, the action, also the archaeology, ! It's an amazing soundtrack to listen to when you're about to hit the road. Also shout out to the Tarzan and Brother Bear soundtrack. Wow, nice. Perhaps you'll know what they have in common. I don't. Do they have the same composer? Maybe. Okay. The drum work in Tarzan is on point, and the vocals in the Brother Bear are spiritual. They even got the Bulgarian women's choir for a version of Transformation, which is a song title apparently. There's a little trivia for you. Hang on, so is he referring to animated Tarzan? I guess he is if he's comparing it to Brother Bear.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. Okay. Do you guys know what they have in common? Same composer?
Well, Phil Collins was part of the soundtrack for Brother Bear. I'm not sure if he's involved in Tarzan though, is he?
I mean, if it's Luke, that probably is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
What? I mean, maybe it just means, I guess if they're both Disney movies, then they'd probably have similar departments.
I think Brother Bear's great. I think it's one of the better, Like, I love Brother Bear. Is that... Is it regarded as, like, a good film? Or?
I got no idea. I loved it as a kid. I got to rewatch it.
Add to the list.
Definitely. Paul makes his return to this show. We lost him for a few weeks. He came back last week, but we appreciate you coming back, Paul. He said, I would have thought that The Lion King would be my favourite movie soundtrack. I've raised 4 children who have been thoroughly entertained by the movie and have that sung along wholeheartedly to the soundtrack, including Luke. Luke, you've been exposed by your father on the podcast. Thank you very much, everyone who wrote in. We appreciate you as always. Oh, sorry, yeah, go for it.
Oh, yeah. And Charlie Scanlon said,
yes.
Hobbit.
Do we reveal last names on this podcast?
Well, this was his account, so yes, sir. Oh, no.
Sure, yep.
Charlie said to us, Hobbit/Lord of the Rings scores are dope as fuck. So, there you go.
Thanks, Wizzy. Yeah, absolutely. That is a great answer. Jane, what's your answer for this?
This is something I struggled with a lot. I mean, I love film scores so bloody much. I think it's easy to go with, like Zimmer for me, especially like because it's Zimmer, but like I kind of want to go with something a bit different.
Don't defy the intro.
Yeah, because like I don't know. There's just so much. I don't know. I feel like I could spend like an entire episode just talking shit about film scores. I think God, I don't know. I don't want. I'm not going to say Zimmer because I don't want to be that guy. But I think Sicario has a brilliant soundtrack. By Johan Johansson is so superb, and like the way that Villeneuve describes it as a pulse from a desert, and like it is so like well delivers on that. I mean, with tracks like The Beast, it's brilliant. But
yeah.
And then you've also got like I don't know because you've also got like these alternate soundtracks from like bands and like people like the Tron Legacy soundtrack and the soundtrack for More, which Pink Floyd did, or the soundtrack for Submarine by Alex Turner, who is the frontman for the Arctic Monkeys. And I think also the Great Gatsby soundtrack needs to be recognized because I think what like the amalgamation of classical and modern day like hip hop type things. And the way they merged on that soundtrack is phenomenal. And then, you can't ignore, it's like like horror synth soundtracks like Halloween and Suspiria and The Strangers Pray at Night. I mean, I don't know. Like, I could just go on about soundtracks for so long.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, yeah. How can you just choose one,
Yeah.
I don't really think I can either, but... I mean, fine. I'll just go The Empire Strikes Back and A New Hope. Oh, well, that's 2, isn't it? No. Hey, I mean, Luke said Indiana Jones, so I'm just going to say OT Star Wars, done. But yes, Hans Zimmer also strong contender. Dark Knight Trilogy, strong contender. Yeah, those are my kind of answers. How about you, Fitzy?
I think Lord of the Rings probably wins for me, but I'll mention 2 others. There'll Be Blood. Soundtrack for There'll Be Blood is brilliant, and Synecdoche, New York. Both.
Wait, what? Isn't it Synecdoche?
I think it's Synecdoche.
I mean, this is the kid that kept saying vinyl, so.
Alright,
sorry.
But yeah, there's...
Okay, no, sorry, you're definitely right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, you
Synecdoche. Actually, maybe it's not. I don't know. Wait, hold on.
Oh.
Challenge.
Go on, and I'll
we'll get to the bottom of it.
They're just both brilliant. I mean, There'll Be Blood soundtrack is like as intense and visceral as the movie is, and Synecdoche's is as depressing and like despairing-ish as that movie is, and that character is Caden. So they're just so perfect. But yeah, Lord of the Rings probably wins though, just because like there's like 1,000 different. There's like a tune for like each place, like each character. So like if you're lost, like the music kind of tells you where you are, like in the story, and where you are, and who you're with. And like when you really like look into the Lord of the Rings soundtrack, it's just so brilliant. But yeah, there's those, and there's so many others that I mentioned. Donnie Darko, Magnolia by Paul Thomas Anderson. Yeah, soundtracks are great.
Soundtracks are great. Very well said.
So the internet says Synecdoche, but then I found this video pronouncing it, and like I don't know if you're going to include this in the final cut, Finny, but like just listen to this.
Yeah, go for it.
In a doty chody. Sigh? I'm a kind of doty chody. Sign a cody doty chody.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, I think we'll go with Synecdoche. Yeah.
Can we? Yeah, I'm totally down if every time we don't know how to pronounce something, we get Jaden in to get the Google to correct us there with that voice thing. Set the record straight.
The data dump's going to be a pain in the ass.
Oh my god. Yo, that's what we should do. We should get the robot to read the data dump so I'm not stumbling like a moron.
And then there's like an actual data dump because it's a robot dumping data.
Oh, yeah.
That's good.
Well, levels. This show has levels.
Oh god. This podcast is even reflecting the real world. AI is even taking my job on my own show. Great. It'll just replace all of us eventually. What a somber note. Thanks, guys, for tuning into Cinema Effect this week. We appreciate your time, as always. Fitzy, what are we watching next week?
We are watching The Last Samurai, which happens to be Charlie's favorite movie.
It does.
So that's interesting.
The world famous Charlie.
Yeah. And, professional lifter. Professional, and that's on Netflix, boys and girls, so there's no excuse, guys. Like, what are you doing? We come here every week and you don't watch our movies, and it's sad.
It is sad. I feel like, we say often there's no excuse, but somehow, man, these people, these lowlifes that listen to us, they find an excuse.
Yeah, inside your audience. That's a good way to get them involved.
I think we established since day one that's the strat. Okay. Yeah. I'm definitely going to get taken out of context one day. I'm going to be like clipped on Twitter or some shit. Everyone boycott us. Anyway. Thanks again for tuning in. We appreciate you. Thanks, co-host people, fellow friend people, Liam and Jaden, for joining me. Thank you.
That's all right.
All right. Have a great rest of your week. And I'm off in this intro. I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Hang on. Let me like retry that last sentence. Have a great rest of your week and goodbye.
And follow the Instagram page too.
Yeah, actually, I should add that to the intro. I need to do that. Okay. Yeah, do that. Okay. See you, everyone.
Bye.